Hello YouTube, this is Isaiah Smith, showing you all my Drytron deck profile. I'm kind of getting tired of people's advice, and I'm kind of tired of losing, so let's begin. 3 Drytron Alpha lets you add your standard ritual monsters. 3 Drytron Zeta lets you add your standard ritual spells. 3 Drytron Delta lets you reveal a ritual spell or monster and then draw a card. 2 Drytron Gamma lets you Monster Reborn. Plus, if you add 3, kind of brick. So that's why you play 2. 1 Drytron Beta. In case if like anybody tries to banish your Drytron monsters, you can special summon this and then return 1 banished Drytron and then return it to the grave. And then 1 Drytron Meteos Dragonids. This is an OTK, and it can attack all special summon monsters, plus it can target up to 2 cards by banishing 2,000 or 4,000. And then it cannot be targeted by monster effects. Moving on with the fairies. 3 Cyber Angel Ben 10. What this does, if it gets distributed, you get to add a light fairy from your deck to your hand. 1 Cyber Angel Natasha to steal games. Plus it can take control of your opponent's monster by targeting it. And then if you target a monster that you control, you can gain half of its attack to gain life points. And then anytime when your ritual monsters get attacked, you can use Natasha's effects to negate the attack. 1 Chujo of the Trillion Hands. Somehow this didn't come up pretty much, but you can add 1 ritual spell or monster. Pretty much both when this is summoned. 1 Diviner of Herald. So Diviner, pretty much if you send a fairy monster from your deck or extra deck, it gains that level of that monster's level of the fairy type monster that was sent. So, and it's also good for synchro plays. 1 Herald of Orange Light. It just sends 1 other fairy type monster plus itself to negate a monster effect. So that's 1 hand trap. And then the other hand trap is Artifact Lancia. You can tribute this during your opponent's turn, and then neither player banishes cards. So that's good for like Castor or Branded. And then the 1 card that I did not play was Chaos Max, but instead of playing that, I played Autoized Gravity Dragon. Because this cannot get bureaued, and on top of it, whenever it's summoned, it can return all your opponent's spell and traps. Plus, like, you can't respond to that effect. And then your opponent must pay 500 life points to activate a card effect for time's sake, in case if you're about to lose, and then you can inflict a lot of damage to your opponent. So moving on to the spells. 2 Meteos Drytrons. What this does is that instead of attributing levels, you can attribute attacks for machines. And then you can target 1 Drytron monster, reduce its attack by 1,000, and then add it from the graveyard to the hand. Plus, like, instead of running like 1, it might get banished, so you might as well have 2 just in case, if it gets banished. Okay, 2 Drytron Novas. 3 is kind of bricky. That's why you just only play 2. And it allows you to special summon Drytron monsters from your deck. 2 Drytron Fafnirs. It just chains everything when your opponent normally special summons a monster. Reduce that level times 1,000 per attack. And then on top of that, when this is activated, you can add 1 Drytron spell or trap. And then ritual spells cannot be negated by this effect. So that's good about that. 3 cyber emergencies to add your Drytrons from your deck to your hand. And if it gets negated by this effect, you can discard 1 card and return it back to your hand. 1 Foolish Burial to send 1 of your Drytrons from your deck to your grave. Some people say that this card's not a name, but it is. And instead of sending Alpha, you can send like other Drytrons. So that's a good card. 2 Preparation of Rites. Add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand. And then if you have a ritual spell in your grave, you can add it from your graveyard to your hand. And this might surprise some people. So I play 2 Book of Moon and 1 Book of Eclipse. I'm trying to replace the Book of Moons for Book of Eclipse. But what Book of Eclipse does is like changes all monsters on the field face down. And then during the end phase, your opponent flips their monsters face up, and then they draw for each face down for this effect. And then Book of Moon, all I have to do is target 1 card, which is a monster card, on the field, and then flip it face down. But I will get Book of Eclipse, 2 of them, once when I'm done. So I'll get all 3. 2 Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler just basically negates all of your opponent's monster effects. Plus they take no battle damage. And then your opponent can't respond with monster effects. And playing 3 is just too bricky. So and then 2 talents. Whenever your opponent activates a monster effect, basically draw 2 cards or take control of their monster. And you don't have to worry about the 3rd effect. It's just not that great. But playing 2 is okay. I wouldn't play 3 because it's too bricky. 1 call by. You don't want to get hand trap. Plus, like, they should limit that card to 3 because of too many hand traps. But that's up to you. Besides, it's only limited to 1, so it just banishes a card that was activated from the hand, and then they can't activate that effect till the end of the turn, so that's good. Moving on to the extra deck. For the fusions, only play Elderly Entis. And then Entis, what it does, if it's sent to the grave, you can pop 1 card on the field. And that's all it does. So, and then moving on to the synchros. One Herald of Arclight When this is sent to the graveyard, you can add one ritual spell or monster. So, one FA Dawn Draster, in case if like your opponent activates Dark Ruler no more or spell or trap, something like that. You can reduce this by 2, and then negate and destroy that effect. And then it gains like 300 times its level, I think. So that's that. One Ultimate Azoken and then one Crystal Wing. So Ultimate Azoken, what it does is you need a tuner plus a non-tuner monster that's level 5 or higher, and that they have to be the exact same level for Zoken. And if you set a card, you can special summon one level 7 or 8 dragon synchro monster. Plus, it can't be targeted by attacks or card effects because I control a synchro monster. So, that's pretty good. And then Zulkin summons Crystal Wing, and Crystal Wing, what it does is that whenever your opponent activates a monster effect, you can negate and destroy it, and it gains the attack of that monster that activated the effect that was negated. And then if it battles a level 5 or higher, or attacks a level 5 or higher, it also gains the attack of that monster's attack, or should I say original. So that's a good Omni negate. Along with the Ixies. 2 Mu Beta Fafnir. This is a spell and trap negate by detaching one spell. Detaching one material, and then it can detach more materials if you ritual summon it with by detaching materials. Instead of using monsters to tribute, you can detach materials for it. So, and then on top of that, it can send one Drytron from your deck to your grave. So, and then one Nightingale, one Downer, and one Zeus. So Nightingale, what it does, it can attack as many times as that much materials it has. Plus, like, it gains like 200 attack for each material, and it can attack directly. So, and then it transforms to Downer. Downer transforms into Zeus. Zeus just like, what it does is like detach 2 from itself and then send all cards on the field except itself to the grave. Plus, like, if another card gets destroyed, you can attach one card from your hand, deck, or graveyard as a material to attach it to Zeus. So that's good. Moving on to the links. Relinquish Anima. It just targets basically any monster it points to, and it just gains the attack of that monster. Link Kribo, all it does is like tribute itself if it gets targeted by an attack, and it reduces that monster's attack by 0. Plus, if you tribute a level 1 monster, you can special summon this back from your grave. 2 Dynamondo. What this does is you can target one card on the field and target one ritual monster that you control. Shuffle them both back into the deck. And then during your opponent's turn, with this effect, you can tribute itself to special summon it or add a ritual monster, depending on if you summon it. So that's good. One light charmer. All it does is, like, if it gets destroyed, you can add one light monster with 1500 or less defense. So that's good for the Drytron. And if your opponent has a light monster, you can target your opponent's monster from the grave and special summon it on your side. So that steals like a light monster. Moving on to the side. Since I didn't have a side before, but now I do. One preparation of rites. That's kind of okay. You only need just two. One chaos max. It wasn't useful because the reason I cited it was because every time my opponent would get impermed or like hand trapped, this would just get negated, so it wouldn't be like no use to it. So it's good, but it's like, what it does is that when this is summoned, you can tribute one monster that you control, and then your opponent can't activate monster effects, which is not going to matter because it's just going to get negated. So, and then Cyber Angel Idaten. What this does, if it gets tributed, you can use all ritual monsters gain like 1000 attack and defense. Plus, if it's summoned, it gets to add one ritual spell from your deck or graveyard. So that's good. I didn't want to play 3 of this because I only have 2, and it's kind of a brick if you play too many. So, and on top of it, it would just kill you instead of killing your opponent, because it can just attack you. So I would rather put it in the side anyways. One Dark Ruler no more. Can't play more than 2. It would just be too much of a brick. Diviner, same reason, except instead of not playing 1, you could play 2. It's just going to be more of a brick if you play 2, and it helps with your synchro plays. Another reason for bricking is more factor pain. All this does is skip your opponent's main phase 1, and that's it. Plus it negates like everything that is a fusion, synchro, or exceeds. That includes yours too. And that's all it does when it's summoned. And then one Vanity Ruler. I got impermed by this, so it got negated a couple times. So you would have to be careful. Plus this can stop your opponent from special summoning monsters. And then one Drytron Nova. Well, I hope this video helped you guys, and I better hope that you guys prepare, because this is Drytron's the GOAT of the format, and we need to get a little bit stronger with our combos. Keep trying with Drytron. You can never stop with Drytron, and just keep trying. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.